All right, welcome back to MLive's Dungeon of Doom podcast. We are coming to you from Lambeau Field after the Detroit Lions lost their season opener 27-13. Obviously not the start anybody wanted, and we'll get into that. I'm Ben Raven. He's Kory Woods.
What up, though?
Yeah, tough day at the office today, man.
Yeah, that's putting it kindly. It was not the showing that I expected. I had the Lions splitting their two games with the Packers, but this is not the one I had them losing.
Yeah, we were locked in on that one. I put a lot of stock into Dan Campbell and Jared Goff and just everyone's ability to get this team ready, but we might have underrated the growing pains with a new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. I thought the defense finished a hell of a lot better than they started, and the offense just never got it going.
No, it just looked like there was a little bit of confusion just out the gate. They could not establish anything. The defense played quote unquote better in the second half than the first, but all throughout the game, I thought while fans were complaining online about the Lions not generating any pressure, I thought the pass protection was the one thing that really stuck out to me as a real flaw and something that's got to get cleaned up.
Yeah, Taylor Decker after the game said he felt like the Packers were kind of challenging their communication with the two new starters on the line, but like wasn't making excuses. But I mean, I think you saw it. I mean, 9 quarterback hits, 4 sacks. Jared Goff, spinning more times than you'd like to see out of trouble. And just it was the Packers really, they keep everything in front of them. They play a lot of cover too. They keep it in front of them. And the Lions had one play go for longer than 20 yards. And on their first 3 trips to the red zones, they had 2 field goals and an interception.
Yeah, that once that interception happened, I just said, you know what? That might be the early backbreaker. I just didn't. Yeah. This was the way, and it's not just that they couldn't come back. It was just when you're looking at the way the game was going, it's just like that right there was to me a momentum killer. Like, okay, how do you come back from this with the way things are trending? Because that was really the wrong time. There's never a good time to throw an interception, but that was just
right
the worst time they could have it going.
Yeah, and it was the perfect storm of, I mean, the Packers, just to highlight the defense getting better, the Packers started 4-4 on third down, jumped out to that 10-0 lead. The next 10 third down attempts for the Packers, they did not move the chains. So you saw the defense kind of, you're right, quote unquote better because there was still no pass rush. I mean, Jordan Love was living just standing up in that pocket.
Which was insane to see. I mean, even I don't want to say everything he said, but even Lions linebacker Derek Barnes, he was a little bit shocked that he said he didn't break contain, but it's just like he was still shocked at the way things are going as far as them getting pass rush. He said it wasn't normal.
No, it just and just every break that the defense had a chance at making today just like did not happen. They had 2 quarterback hits, one from Hutchinson and one from Muhammad. Hutchinson's hit came on a play that could have swung the freaking game back open. Anzalone drops the easy interception. It was 17-6 at that time. The next play, there were flags everywhere, but it's the play where Branch returned the interception for a touchdown. And it's just like, my God, even when they get to the pocket, something happens, something goes wrong. Only 2 tackles for loss in this game. Branch had 1 and Barnes had a big one on a third down to force a punt to try and give them life. But man, just they couldn't get off the field on third down, and they weren't getting pressure, and they were getting beaten one-on-one man coverage to open the game. And then Terrion Arnold doesn't play the second half, and maybe that groin injury was causing him some problems there in the first half.
Yeah, so I don't know if fans have seen it come out yet, but Terrion Arnold said that he sustained a groin injury on the Packers' second drive of the game. Yeah. And while on that second drive they got a field goal, on that third drive they hit that boom, those two plays that Arnold and DJ Reed were in the coverage for the big bomb, probably 48 yards. Yeah. And then the second one, that was Arnold in coverage. They got beat by Jaden Reed, a step behind, and had enough separation to get the touchdown in the corner. He said, I understand that he said that it didn't lead to, his performance and, good, you want to be a competitor. Right. But I mean, it was clear that he looked a step slower after that when you go back and look at it.
Yeah, it just wasn't good. It was just like, wow, all the main concerns coming into the season kind of came to light today. Like, are there growing pains with the two new coordinators? Is the offense going to be what it's been the last 3 years as a top 5 scoring unit? Can the interior offensive line hold things down? It was a bad day for the interior offensive line. The running game was nothing. Then there were no explosive plays. I mean, like we said, the biggest play of the day was a 32-yard play action pass to Laporta with broken coverage where he ran for like 14 yards
Yeah.
after the catch or something like that. And I mean, it was check down city.
Yeah.
Just go back to the offense because I think that's the most concerning. There's some concerns on defense. They had only 3 pure edge rushers active for this game, and then there was a lack of pressure. There really just was a lack of pressure. But on offense, man, the Lions ran the ball 22 times for only 46 yards. Montgomery, 11 for 25. Gibbs, 9 for 19 with 14 yards on one of those rushes. And one of the most glaring stats of the day was Jahmyr Gibbs caught 10 passes for only 31 yards. And our old friend Justin Rogers found quite the stat after this game. No one in NFL history has had fewer receiving yards with double-digit catches. I mean, it was check down city. The Packers, you got to hand it to them. You really do. They executed their game plan perfectly. Even when their offense kind of came back down to earth after the hot first quarter start, like their defense made life absolute hell for the Lions, man. I mean, there was nothing breaking downfield at all.
And, this is one of all the things that I've seen so far, because, you guys know I pay attention to what the fans are saying. I do think that it is fair to question with the 2 new coordinators. If you still kept Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, they were here. If you even had one of them still in town, I could understand how they approach the preseason, only having the starters take their get their reps during the joint practices.
Yeah.
But with you having 2 new coordinators, I think it is fair to question how come the guys didn't play maybe a quarter or a couple of series during the preseason game, just to kind of work some of those kinks out in the flow of things. Because I mean, yeah, they started again. I remember they started slow last year in Week 1 against the Rams, but again, that was a team that has played together, been with those coordinators. Yeah. They've been in those moments. This is all brand new. So it is fair to question, like, hey, maybe they should have worked some of this out. I still think it is. It's too early to panic, right. But the concerns were glaring because it's not that they lost; it's how they look in losing.
Yeah. And it is important to remember because they started slow last year. I mean, they went 0 of 6 or 0 of 7 in the red zone in Week 2 against the Bucs too. So, I mean, it took a minute to get going. And Dan Campbell after the game, he took a very the sky is not falling approach. Like he feels all these issues are correctable. They can get on the same page. He wasn't making excuses. Like the Packers played great. We did not. And I just, gosh, the Packers are good. Like the Packers are good. They are a very well-coached team, and they came out and they made the Lions look like a team that had 2 new coordinators on both sides of the ball. I was surprised at how bad it looked on offense. I figured the defense would take a little bit. I mean, with all the injuries last year, guys coming back, Aleem McNeil still missing, no Levi Onwuzurike out there. But the defense turned it up. The offense did not. I mean, until the final drive of the game when it's 27-6, man, because like every chance they had to close the gap went bad. Their first 2 trips, or the first trip to the red zone, short field goal. Second trip to the red zone, it's 17-3. Goff throws that interception. The Lions are getting the ball back in the second half. I mean, you're talking about a chance to go into the break, down 1 score, and get the ball back. And then they settle for another short field goal, and obviously Tesla makes the hell of a catch to end the game. Yeah. It'd be cool if we could have some excitement about that play, but like it was just like, man, I was shocked the starters even finished the game because just what Goff was facing. And the stat from NFL Next Gen Stats that really blows me away, the Packers only blitzed Goff five times. Is this right? 5 times on 43 dropbacks. Only blitzed him 5 times. That means their defensive line was making noise. I mean, when the Lions got that ball back 17-6 in the second half, Goff takes a sack from Rashawn Gary, barely avoids a safety. All of a sudden, your drive with a chance to make it a 1-score game late in the game turns into, oh my God, let's not take a safety. And you punt it away, they add more points, and you're in hell.
I just that's something that they're going to have to correct. I mean, just only blitzing 5 times and you're able to get that type of make life hell like that for Goff. That is something to worry about. And also on two, I mean, he did get a sack in the game, but it's not like Micah Parsons was out there
Right.
just wrecking havoc. That was a total team effort by that Packers defense. They without a Kenny Clark, they in playing most of the game because he's not here. But
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, it's just wow. It was something to behold, and the one thing that really stuck out to me is as part of those stats is not the fact that Jahmyr Gibbs had 10 catches for 31 yards. It's the fact that Jahmyr Gibbs had 10 catches.
Yeah, exactly.
When you have a Sam Laporta as your tight end, when you have the receiving trio of St. Brown, J-Mo, and then again, Tesla, he's a rookie, but that last play, we saw what he's capable of. When you have that much firepower, but your running back gets most of the targets, that is really surprising to me.
Yeah. Goff averaged only 3.3 air yards per completion, 8 completions behind the line of scrimmage. The 3.3 air yards per pass completion was his 5th lowest mark since joining the Lions in 2021. And I'm sure the other 4 on that list came in 2021. And I mean, I don't want to sit here and act like the sky is falling, but they literally needed a 3rd-round rookie to make a one-handed leaping catch that was inches from being not a touchdown to avoid getting kept out of the end zone for the first time since 2022. I mean, we're talking offensive struggles that we have not seen in a long time. Obviously, first game with the new offensive coordinator, first game with a new look coaching staff, first game with 2 new guard starters in there, and Graham moving back to center. And I just, the passing game sucked. Yeah, it wasn't explosive, but we both really thought the Lions were going to be able to run the ball today.
And I mean, like I said, there was no Kenny Clark. And then you hear that Micah Parsons is going to play limited snaps. Obviously worried about him more on pass rush, but still, when you have that guy Clark gone, you're thinking like, okay, this might be a little bit of heaven for the Lions. Absolutely not. And again, I mean, the losses of Frank Ragnow and Kevin Zeiler on the offensive line, they really came to fruition today. So I'm curious to see. I mean, again, it's only one game. Curious to see what adjustments they're going to make and what changes they're going to make after they look at the tape this week. But I mean, the sky is not falling. But
it's week 1.
It's week 1. But at the same time, you have to realize this. They're not just 0-1. They're 0-1 in the division.
Yes.
And now next week they have the Chicago Bears, another division game. To me, that is a must-win game because you cannot go 0-2 in the division if with the Super Bowl goal on the line. And really to achieve that goal, it does start with taking care of your division. So, you don't want to go off the deep end, but next week is a must-win game.
And it's not only a must-win game because it's in the North, but you don't want to be going into Monday Night Football against the Baltimore Ravens 0-2.
Oh, no.
Holy crap, that schedule.
because you have a gauntlet after that Bears game, and now you're going to be looking at things a little bit differently as far as how the season could go. So, and also too, you can't lose the game where Ben Johnson returns to the building.
Yeah, I mean, oh god,
that's just the cherry on the sundae. So next week is a must-win game for a boatload of reasons. It's you hate to kind of put that talk out there, but it is what it is after a loss like this.
No, this offense, I mean, you take away the final drive in garbage time with the starter still on the field, and this is a very much uglier box score, much uglier score. And the fact that your new offensive coordinator and the offense struggles this badly out of the gates, and then all of a sudden, what's up next? Oh, Ben Johnson. Oh, great. I'm sure fans will be super chill about that. I'm sure talk radio is going to be super chill about all that this week. So it's going to be a lot of outside noise. There's going to be a lot of questions.
especially if the Bears win tomorrow.
Yeah.
Especially if the Bears come into Ford Field 1-0. Yeah, it's going to be a long week.
Yeah. And just the offense, nobody had a good day. Nobody had a good day. I mean, Penei Sewell was chasing guys more times than you'd like to see. Christian Mahogany did not have his best day. Glasgow and Ratledge did not have their best day. Decker got beat for a big sack, too. And I mean, I'd love to sit here and say Micah Parsons was an absolute game wrecker. He had a fine game, 29 snaps, 4 pressures, and the sack in the fourth quarter to get Goff down, which, man, this crowd was loving every second of that. A lot of number 1 jerseys already in this crowd. Last guy to come out in defensive introductions. I mean, they know what they've got there, but man, the silver linings for the offense were they did put together some long drives. They did control the ball, but my God, they had 2 drives to end that first half, combined 17 minutes possession time, 1 short field goal, 1 interception.
Yeah, that was the one thing about it. When it felt like the offense was starting to click when it was putting together those long drives. But I mean, to only walk away with 3 points from both of them, you just can't have that against a Packers team that, hey, look, I know fans don't want to hear this. The Packers are damn good.
Yeah.
And you can't, you got to come in here and play your best football or you're going to get boat raced. And that's kind of what they did. Once they established dominance in that first half, they kind of just game managed the rest of the way because it just appeared, at least it appeared, that Detroit spirit a little bit was kind of shaken.
Yeah, if I told you before the game that the Lions would control the ball for 13 plus minutes in the second quarter, 13 plus minutes in the second quarter, and they'd be down 17-3 at halftime, you would ask, what the hell happened? Yeah, that's one of those jarring stats. That just threw me off.
Yeah,
the thought process right there.
Wow.
I mean, seriously. I mean, you come out, you go, I think it was a 9.5-minute drive. You settle for a field goal. The Packers get the ball. They go 2 plays, 65 yards, 53 seconds.
That's why I say Arnold has to be Arnold, I think he's being a little bit disingenuous about the injury not bothering him because you were the man and you were one of the guys in coverage.
Yeah.
You were one of the guys in coverage for the big explosive, and then you were the main guy guarding Reed on the touchdown. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe he should have said – I don't know if he should have said something like, hey.
Yeah, I don't know what you say in that situation.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I don't know. Because you don't want to be like, no, I shouldn't have been out there. Then that makes everybody look bad.
Yeah, so it's kind of – it's rough.
I'll say this. I think Jordan Love's great. I've always been like, all right, they got another guy. They got another franchise guy. But the one thing I always doubted about the Packers, even when they took Matthew Golden in the first round this year, it was like, you have an offense with 6 wide receiver 2s. Today it worked. Love completed 16 passes. 10 different guys caught a ball. Their leading receiver was Jaden Reed with 3 catches for 45 yards and a touchdown. Romeo Doubs had 68 yards on 2 catches. But man, they did exactly kind of what we thought they were going to do. And outside of the second half, outside of the fourth quarter when Jacobs put the game away with the touchdown and had a couple nice runs, Detroit's run defense was a saving grace all day.
Yes.
I mean, it really was. I mean, Derek Barnes looked good against the run. I thought Tyreek Williams had a couple good plays. It just was like the breakdowns in the worst spot because, I mean, if I would have told you this stat before the game, that the Packers would convert their first 4 third down attempts and then not convert one for the entire second half, missing the next 10 third down chances, you would have been like, oh, Lions, they probably won that game, or it was probably pretty close, right? This was as big as a blowout as a 27-13 game could be.
Absolutely. And I do think that one thing that really gave the Packers more momentum was the Brian Branch penalty.
Oh,
that just really set things up for a little bit of disaster down the line.
Man, and I asked Campbell about that after the game, and I was just like, what do you say? That's on the first drive of the game. And it wasn't like a little ticky-tack standing over a guy taunting penalty. Branch had his face mask in his hand for a good 4 seconds, ripped his helmet off, and then rolled it like a bowling ball in front of everyone in the Campbell just pretty much said he knows he's got to be better. He is better than that. Yes, we've talked about it, blah, blah, blah. But Brian Branch Like I turned to Colton Pouncey and said, he only lets intrusive thoughts win when he's in Wisconsin.
I mean, yeah, it's I don't know. Maybe it's something about this stadium that just brings the worst out of him because, I mean, heck, he could have got knocked out again.
Man,
it was very, very possible.
I mean, that is the type of play where it's like, man, they could have thought about tossing him for that.
Yeah.
Like, oh gosh, I just with the defense, man. I mean, it was so bad early. They cleaned it up late, but still, like the inactives today. I mean, Chris Smith is inactive. Tyrus Reed, they thought he was going to be their fourth edge rusher today. Inactive. I mean, it was Davenport, Hutchinson, and Muhammad as the three pure edges, and then Pat O'Connor kicking outside a little bit, mixing some things around. But man, no sacks, 2 quarterback hits.
I mean, Jordan Love had time, and I mean a lot of it. And when you see how much time that he had in the pocket, as much as Brad and Dan may not have liked the questions about their edge rusher depth, it's fair to question it.
It is.
It's more than fair when you see the lack of it, and they're going to get questioned. Probably not Holmes this week, but
right.
Dan's going to have to face some questions about it. Kelvin Shepard's going to have to face some questions about it. It is what it is.
I mean, they have to find ways to generate pressure. I mean, you just have to find ways, and I don't know. I mean, it's why the question was asked 25,000 times this offseason. Do you think you have enough edge depth? Do you think you have enough? Then it's not just about getting another star on the side of the Hutchinson. It's just about having another option when stuff's not working.
Yeah.
I know losing Levi was big. I know not having McNeil was big, but like, man, and then you lose Hassanin. I just, Jordan Love was just dancing in the pocket. I mean, he barely broke the pocket at all on any of those throws, man. And it's just when you look at what the Lions faced on the other side and you look what the Packers brought on, I mean, the Packers rolled deep on the defensive line. Wyatt, Gary, Parsons, Van Ness was a machine today, I thought. That's why I liked him so much coming out of the draft a couple of years ago. There was just, oh, man.
One thing that's, a thought that I've been having leading up to this game, and even more so now after this game, is when you saw how the Eagles pass rush looked against the Cowboys in the kickoff, they addressed that quickly.
Yes.
I mean, the next day they had Zadarius Smith in for what a workout and signed him pen to paper that day. They addressed it on the spot because they lost some pieces. And, they wanted to see how it looked.
Yeah.
And they saw, and they made the call. They preemptive strike the Lions on that one. So now I'm wondering, hey, what do the Lions do?
Yeah.
You saw how the pass rush looked. Do you go out and see what you can do? Or do you just say, hey, we're just gonna wait and try to clean things up this week against the Bears and go from there? I don't know what that answer is. It's just a thought that's in my head, seeing how quickly the Eagles addressed it. This is a team coming off a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And it's how quickly they addressed, that can't happen. Because Dak had all the time in the world. Went and got it done. So I'm just curious to see how the Lions are gonna what they're gonna do to take care of that.
I don't know what they can do.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because what we've been talking about so long is that they are trying to be as conservative with the cap as possible by keeping their own guys in house, and we saw that happen late last night with the Jameson Williams extension, which is, we're not going to spend too much time on that because it's a post game podcast, but like JMO, man, it's like 12th or 13th average per year, and that deal doesn't even kick in until 2 years from now. So JMO's locked up for the next 5 seasons. Obviously, that's great. But they still have some decisions to make, and with the way they're kind of pinching their pennies and to keep their guys in house, I don't know. Because if you're not willing to pay whatever it was for Zadarius to keep him, and you're not willing to pay this $9 million to bring him back, you're not looking outside to me. I mean, that's why you see him sign a Tyler Lacey on waivers, a Tyrus Wheat on waivers. Maybe they want to get him ready before he goes, but like, it's just about having options. I don't care how much they move their pieces around on the defensive line. You can't look at today's game and feel good about that. Like, I know,
yeah, you can't. I mean, you have to just say, hey, we look bad, but you just can't say, oh, it's going to get better because we're doing this. And no, you have to really kind of find a tangible way to get this done because again, you can't go 0-2 in the division, and you can't and then you brought up the great point. You can't go 0-2 into that Monday Night Football game against the Ravens.
The schedule does not let up
because it only gets rougher from there, and I hate to say it, if they go 0-2, only thing they're going to do is validate the talking heads who said, "Hey, this is not a playoff team."
Yeah,
and you don't want to go again. Not trying to go that deep.
No. Yeah, I get you,
this early, but you just laying it out there that you got to take care of business against Chicago.
What is your bigger concern, the lack of a pass rush or the interior offensive line play?
Interior offensive line play.
I'm with you too, because I think with Hutchinson getting back to speed, Davenport, if he can stay healthy, they at least have two dudes.
Yeah.
The interior offensive line, it was a tough day.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty strongly on screw playing your guys in the preseason, but I think when you're working in that many new pieces, and it's kind of why I continue to look at offensive line in the draft as a first-round possibility, is everyone was quick to anoint Christian Mahogany as the answer at guard after 2 starts last year. After 2 starts.
Which I said was crazy.
He might be fine. He might clean it up.
Yeah.
He might be good. This was his 3rd career game. This was Tate Ratledge's 1st game. Graham Glasgow's back to center after really struggling to end the season last year. And the one thing I just keep looking at is 22 carries, 2.1 yards per carry, and Next Gen Stats with another very scary stat here. The Packers hit Lions ball carriers behind the line of scrimmage on 16 of their 22 rush attempts. Let me say that one more freaking time for you. The Packers hit Lions ball carriers behind the line of scrimmage on 16 of 22 carries, the highest rate the Lions have allowed in the Dan Campbell era. The Packers allowed negative 12 rushing yards before contact, 0.6 yards before contact per carry. That's the 2nd worst mark under Campbell. And the Lions were held to their fewest explosive runs in a game over the last 2 seasons. And NFL Next Gen Stats must be pretty liberal in what they call an explosive run, because the longest run of the day was a 14-yarder by Jahmyr Gibbs, and I do not count that as explosive.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people were complaining about Gibbs running circles and running backwards and stuff, but holy crap, he was getting hit in the backfield, or somebody was in his face in the backfield on 73% of the team's rush attempts. That's
again,
it's the one thing I felt. If you would have told me the one thing I felt most passionate, convicted in, it was going to be the Lions being able to run the ball in this game.
Yeah.
Because Clark was gone. Parsons is limited.
It was in my prediction. I can't backtrack. It was in my prediction.
I think
that's a crazy stat.
I know it. There are some pretty wild stats out of this game, and wild in the bad way. But let's spin this thing ahead. The Bears come to town next week. That is a good opportunity to get everybody on the same page. I'm not saying the Bears are one of the worst teams in the leagues, but they are working in a new coaching staff and they have a weird offensive tackle situation to figure out. And I'll just say this. The sky is not falling. It is week 1. This was really bad. This was really sucky. The Lions still have not lost back-to-back regular season games since week 7 and week 8 in 2022 under Dan Campbell. The team has consistently shown an ability to bounce back. But I'll admit it right now. Maybe I did underrate the switch at offensive coordinator. Maybe I did underrate those challenges. I just looked at both sides of the ball. I looked at the roster. I saw Dan Campbell still on that sideline, and I said, they're going to be all right. They'll figure this out. If anybody can survive this type of loss, it's these Lions, right? Easier said than done.
Yeah. I mean, I know John Morton said that, they weren't going to change too much. He's going to input some of his things, but it just did not look like it was coming together at any point tangibly. I mean, again, we did say they had the two long drives in the second quarter, but it just always felt like they were playing behind the 8 ball the entire time. I mean, obviously because they were down behind the score, but it didn't really feel like. But even in previous years when they were down scores, you felt like, okay, they're going to be able to make some adjustments and get it back on track. Yeah. This one just felt like it was insurmountable task to try to get the wheels back on.
Yeah, and I think I've kind of come to take that for granted from these Lions. You know, I just kept thinking about the Texans game last year and how they came back and did that. They just kept getting the ball with a chance to make it a one-score game. Like we talked about the pick before the first half. We talked about the safety situation. We talked about the Anzalone dropped pick. We talked about the Branch pick 6 that got called back, and the critical errors came at the most critical of times, and they just did not have the answer. I mean, there was nothing breaking down field. I mean, the Packers, without Nate Hobbs, one of their starting outside cornerbacks, they were working in a new look secondary too at corner. They had to play somebody not named Nate Hobbs. And I mean, that was a very, very well executed game plan. And it's one of the things about the NFC North that makes it even harder than the rosters is that these teams have some good head coaches.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about Ben Johnson yet, and that is not a slight, but I'm talking about Matt LaFleur, and I'm talking about Kevin O'Connell. I mean, the Lions came into this winning 6 out of the last 7 meetings against the Packers. They had won 3 from here, Lambeau Field in a row, trying to win their 4th straight here for the first time since they won 3 straight NFL championships in the 1950s. I mean, what they have done against these Packers has been really impressive. And we said it earlier. I mean, Campbell's got LaFleur's Got his number. I'm so dumbfounded that I forgot. I almost said ticket, and I'm surprised, guys. I am. I'm not gonna go out here and write some stupid column about Holmes and Campbell being on the hot seat. They're not. No. They could miss the playoffs this year and not be on the hot seat. It wouldn't even be lukewarm. But that doesn't mean that this doesn't raise some red flags, because as I started the pod with, all the main concerns everyone had about this team was very glaring today.
And no matter what they say, no matter how they try to spin it, it's what happened.
Yeah.
And, I know, Brad kind of brushed off the edge rusher question a lot of times during his media availability, but, I mean, the team did not override what the little they did. They basically got nothing on Jordan Love.
Nothing. No, nothing. The Hutchinson quarterback hit was the most impactful pressure they had in the game. It led to an almost interception that should have been an interception. They would have got the ball in the red zone down 11, but it didn't happen. And that was their one shot. I mean, I know I can't even remember Muhammad's quarterback hit. The Hutchinson one is the only one I remembered. I mean, sorry, that was such a bummer tonight, guys. I know everybody was fired up.
And again, it's not, as I said earlier, it's not the fact that they lost, it's how they looked while losing. They looked, hey, it's okay to say, in this game, they did not look like a good football team.
No, but here's the bright side. The roster has so many pieces that the rest of the league would kill to have. They have a quarterback who, takes ownership. I mean, Goff has given us no reason to doubt him, even considering today. And it just, the more this offensive line plays together, you got to have faith in Hank Fraley and guys like Sewell and Decker to hold things down. They weren't at their best today. Decker even said it in his best. Like, some of these new guys, maybe they're better at different run schemes than the ones we tried today. We have a lot of run schemes, so maybe we need to go to that. I mean, the one thing everybody said was just like, I got to see the tape on this. What the hell just happened, right? Like, didn't J-Mo tell you, like, I don't know what happened? Kind of like, my God, nothing happened. Like,
Derek Barnes was he was dumbfounded.
Yeah.
He was just like, this ain't us.
Yeah, and I've seen every emotion out of Campbell. You've seen him cry. You've seen him mad. You've seen him reserved. Today, it was kind of like, that sucked, but I believe that we can get better from this. Like, what the one quote he had, it's not as bad as it seems. It's not as bad as it appeared. And I mean, of course he's going to try and say stuff like that, but, the run defense makes you feel good. The the long drives they put together, no matter how they ended, like, all right, what were we doing on the first 5 to 8 plays on this drive that worked so well? Just figure it out. Like, it's going to take time. It's going to take time for Goff and the running backs to get used to the offensive line. It's going to take time for the offensive line to get used to each other. But yeah, man, no explosive plays, no touchdowns until the final minute of the game when it was already over. Was pretty shocked the starters were still on the field. But I don't know. What silver linings do you want to give the people before we get the hell out of here?
The one silver lining I'll give them is that I was in the visitors' locker room, and I would say the players, just kind of like judging the temperature of the room and the things that I heard and players I talked to, they appeared to be more annoyed with the loss as opposed to panicking. It was just more so like, we really beat ourselves. We let ourselves down. These are things that we can fix. It's not the end of the world, but I would say they felt more annoyed than mad. Like, I didn't see anybody in there really like scowling, oh my God, we just lost. They appear to be really annoyed with themselves.
And it's because some of these mistakes they feel truly are correctable. And I mean, as bad as they played today, they still had chances today.
Yeah. That's the crazy part about it.
They still had chances. Like the pick before the end of the half, that would have been a huge turning point. Getting the ball back down 17-6 turns into disaster. You drop the interception. There were chances. There were chances to close this gap today. So I know I just said it's as bad as a blowout as 27-6 can be, but like at the same time, they're 5 critical plays away from being in that thing. And I know you can say that about every single game, but like we're talking about an established offense, an established quarterback with 2 playmakers, a stud tight end, 2 centerpieces on the offensive line, and they just ran into a wall. Every time they got past the 30-yard line, not even the red zone, the Packers clamped down. And I mean, it's just surprising because they know this team so well. I mean, even Goff said it. The Packers did nothing differently than they usually do. And I'd love to sit here and say Micah Parsons had 19 sacks and 12 tackles for loss, but like he had 4 pressures and 1 sack when the game was already over. The Lions lost to a team they know well, and they lost to players they know well. And maybe that's the new coordinator. Maybe that's the new coordinator. Oh, jeez. Maybe that's the new, punching things. Maybe that's the new coordinators. Maybe that's the new offensive line. Maybe that's the lack of a pass rush. Maybe it's a combination of everything, but it's week 1. This team has started slow before. Not this slow. I'll say that.
Yeah.
But, you got to look at that roster and find faith in that. And you got to, as I said earlier, Dan Campbell has not lost regular season games back-to-back weeks since 2022. And this team is a lot better than that team was. And, yeah, it's kind of like I wrote in my season analysis today. The one thing that gives me the most faith in this team is Dan Campbell.
Yeah, one thing that gives me the most faith in the team is not just Dan Campbell, but the fact that these guys play with an ego, and when they lose, they come back the next week like a team that plays with its hair on fire. Yeah. Now, this is their first loss under the new coordinators. I'm curious to see how John Morton and Kelvin Shepard express that sense of urgency. I have a good feeling that Shep's going to express it because Shep has been in this building for the past 4 years. Curious to see how John, who's been in here for, he's been here, but he hasn't been here throughout the whole time. Yeah. Curious to see how the offense regroups and gets their showing out there. Because again, next week is a very important game.
Yeah. And for Morton, it's about finding ways to beat a defense when they're trying to keep everything in front of them. You got to find ways to do that. When the running game's not working, you got to figure something out. You've got Jamison Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Sam Laporta. Find ways to get them the ball. Not enough St. Brown today. I think all 3 of his catches moved the chains on 3rd down.
That was. I would say that was to me was very shocking. The lack of production that he had.
Yeah.
And I mean, you got a guy. You got receivers like that. You have to figure out ways to get them the ball. I mean, again, no disrespect to Jahmyr Gibbs, but I mean,
you can't check it down 10 times.
You can't have 10. Jahmyr Gibbs cannot have 10 receptions.
And how many catches? Between Gibbs and Montgomery, they had 14 catches for 49 yards.
That can't happen.
That is like paired with their
they're not your receivers.
No, that's exactly right. Yeah, St. Brown, 4 catches, 45 yards, 3 of them in the first half. 1, I think, came on that final drive too. And then for Shepard, you got to find ways to generate pressure.
Yeah.
And maybe only having 3 active edge defenders on your game day roster isn't the best move going forward. And whether that's the new guy Wheat, maybe that's a guy off the practice squad, maybe that's a guy still out there in free agency or waivers, but you got to figure that out. If you need something on this roster, you need to do it soon. And I don't think an outside addition is coming, because if there was an outside addition is coming, it probably would have been that guy that signed with the Eagles. But maybe they weren't interested. They're really trying to make it seem like they weren't interested.
Yeah, and I'm not. And there is a guy out there. I'm not going to say his name on this podcast. I'll say it after.
Oh, no.
I'm not saying his name, but
I don't even know.
but you can't say we're good with what we have, and we feel comfortable, and not bringing in as a Darius Smith back to this team who expressed interest in coming back. But then you go out and your immediate showing after saying we're good is not generating any pressure.
Yeah. So with the Bears coming to town next week, I know the Bears invested a lot in their offensive line. Still got some question marks at tackle. If it's a similar showing from the pass rush next week, they need to stop taking the we don't need more edge help.
Yeah,
you need to stop that.
You can't go that route, because, again, if they lose to the Bears next week, I'm gonna be honest, that is a panic button, because, again, it's not to say they can't get into the playoffs or nothing like that, but you have a hard schedule coming up, and you cannot go down 0-2 in your division.
No, and that's got to be it for us. I can't believe we did 40 minutes on such a gross game.
Yeah.
Lions are 0-1. Host the Bears for the home opener next week. We'll be back with the midweek mailbag podcast, I believe, on Thursday. I will be dropping lines about questions to be submitted there. But we'll talk to you guys soon. This is MLive's Dungeon of Doom podcast, signing off.